Welcome back to the coolest channel on YouTube. Look, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You don't want to miss these videos as soon as they drop. We're still doing a giveaway. We're gonna do the dual giveaway. Grand prize winners is gonna be getting their cash this month, you know what I'm saying? But look, make sure that if you want to be in running to get the winnings, you have to be a member of the channel of different brackets, and you'll get your money depending on which bracket you're in. Simple as that, man. But hopefully y'all been having a good day. Just know if you're going through a tough time, go through this thing called life together. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into this video. Good vibes only. You already know how we coming. Pause, nigga. Pause.
What you're seeing here is water memory. You can do this experiment yourself just by showing an image to water for around 30 seconds and then freezing the water, and you will see a reflection of the image you showed it. This proves that water holds memory. It has consciousness. This is because water can change its structure depending on the vibrations it comes into contact with. This is where things start to get a bit crazy with words. Placing the word schizophrenia in water and then freezing it shows this image of a double-faced person. This proves that water is intelligent and is reacting to vibrations of the words. Now that you understand this concept, what do you think happens when you are drinking Monster Energy, or with cans which imprinted the word of death? You are drinking crystallized water with the imprinted vibration of death. You are filling 70% of your body, which is water, with the vibration of death. Tap water is mixed with sewage and all sorts of toxins inside of these facilities. Although they may remove some of the toxins from the water,
That's why you feel like shit.
the crystallized vibration of this water is still very bad. The ancients didn't just build beautiful water fountains for no reason. They had a purpose of moving the water so that it restructures the vibration of the water. Water is basically the internet of the earth. It has consciousness and intelligence. This is why you should never place your car keys or your phone next to your water. The energy codes in my bio will allow you to place codes underneath water and then drink.
The moon's energy, the sustainer of life, as it affects and influences the subconscious part of our thinking mechanism. That's what sustains us on this planet. Most 85% of our human behavior and functionability is subconscious. It is involuntary. So this energy, the moon, affects not only the subconscious but also the dark side of our mind, as you would have it, the dark side of the moon, as it's referred to, where those angry and frightening thoughts hide and give us nightmares every now and then, particularly as it's raised and stimulated. And also, very importantly, this is the part of the mind that gets people into chemical trouble when the energy affects the subconscious part of our nature.
Nah, cause like look at me. Look at what I had to go through. You don't know nothing about this because you ain't never been through nothing. Y'all ain't never did nothing like this. Cause like y'all had it easy. Like y'all don't know what it's like to struggle for real. Like y'all ain't never had to go through nothing like this. You ain't never gonna know what that's like. What? I didn't say anything. I know you didn't, cause what can you say? What can you really say? Because y'all soft. Like I'm hard body. Like I'm like that. I'm like you ain't never gonna be like that. You don't.
So what we sound like, all right? Oh, they practicing. They about to get their blue bean popping. Hell nah. Oh, that was a blimp carrying it though. I seen it. Okay.
We all know that history is false, but what if the lie is more terrible than we think? After gathering all the information, I see that it seems that we were invaded by aliens and that we are living in a post-apocalyptic era, and the aliens have already captured Atlantis. And I believe the mass migration of these Zeta Grays, or these big-headed aliens, had already colonized us in 1859. The thing that they're calling the Carrington event. So they're calling it a solar flash and knocked out all of our electronics, but at that time we had free energy. So it wasn't the electricity that we're using today. It seems that when the Zeta Grays came here, they knocked out our original power grid and put up in their own power grid. And this is the reason why the U.S. military and all these people are scared of an EMP attack, because that would actually knock down their power source. It's no wonder why when you see these images of the 1800s or the early 1800s that you see nobody living in these cities or these towns, or these buildings are uninhabited, because I believe that we were the people who survived. We are the children of the people who survived, who ran into the wilderness when this alien invasion happened. And after it was colonized, it basically was reestablished as a new community, and we just became prisoners of war. And a lot of these wars that they're talking about, these Black Indian wars that we had in America, I don't think that these were regular wars at all. I think these were always alien wars, and we was always at war with the Zeta Greys. And every single war that we had on this planet was an alien war. You ever just go somewhere where there's nobody around and then just somebody just pops up out of nowhere? At this point, I believe that they're watching us. They're studying us. It's actually kind of creepy, man, because it's like there's nowhere to hide, and the only thing that gives them this ultimate power is the electrical grid. And this is the reason why I believe that they're scared of this EMP. And that's also why our ancestors have not came back yet, because they need the main power source to be taken out.
So according to today's epic drop from the Monroe Institute, there is a gathering of extraterrestrials and interdimensionals around planet Earth right now that are filling their proverbial stadium and theater seats, getting ready for the big show. Some significant event that is about to take place on Earth that is going to dramatically change the course of human history and the Earth's. And it's so significant, not just to humans and Earth, but to the greater universe and these interdimensionals, that they are all coming here, flocking here from all over space and time to observe, to be a part of this event, because evidently it only happens one in every 100 million or so years. Now this is significant, guys, and this is about to happen on Earth. And for decades now, they have been getting here early. And according to Tom Campbell and Robert Monroe, they just released one of their Explorer tapes today that went into this, and I'm going to talk about it because it's endlessly fascinating. And if you don't know, real quick, the Explorer series is these archival tapes that the Monroe Institute releases every week of the heyday of the Monroe Institute, when they would take people in this special room. I've been in the room, it's amazing. And he had this elite squad of astral explorers, and they would take them through all the densities of Earth and our physical matter reality to the furthest reaches of the astral and the universe. And they were able to make direct communication and talk to higher dimensional and higher conscious beings. Ask him questions. Robert Monroe was the monitor. He'd be able to get real-time answers back from them through this like kind of channeling process they had. It was freaking amazing. And so today, Tom Campbell is talking to a higher dimensional named Thor, and he's talking about the kind of interplay between humans and aliens. And Thor explains it like this. Basically, this is like a cosmic ocean, and there are just a shit ton of life out there. I mean, it's not crazy. Aliens aren't crazy. It'd be crazy if they weren't there. There are so many different kinds of alien life that we couldn't even ever catalog them all. It's almost endless. And most of them don't give a shit about humans or Earth, period. They have their own journeys going on, their own things going on. They don't care. We're not that significant. But right now, we are. Because right now, there's something about to happen. So they're all starting to gather around, especially the higher consciousness and higher intelligent beings, because we're about to go through this major shift, this major change, and they want to be there for it. The good guys want to be there to help us through what they're calling the spiritual ascension. And then the bad guys want to be there because they want us to fail, because then we'll retreat from being the dominant species on Earth, and they can either take over the Earth or enslave us or whatever their little plan is. Let's hope it all works out. Thor says that he's for humans. He likes humans and he likes Earth, and he wants everything to work out, and that's why he's helping. Now, Tom Campbell doesn't normally talk about aliens. He always says, I just want you to make your own decision, so I don't want to color anything. Even though he has been astral traveling for decades and knows more than probably anyone on Earth about this stuff, he never talks about it. But this is an actual like channeled tape of him. So this isn't him talking about it. We're kind of listening in on this explorer, experience that he's having. So he's just talking, and what he's talking about is crazy. So check this out. He says that, okay, there's all these extraterrestrials all around Earth right now, right? All their motherships and spaceships and everything everywhere. And that they're starting to form these alliances and these organizations, right? Kind of like the United Nations of space. this makes you think a lot of the Galactic Federation. So there's all these people talking about how they, crazy ass spider, how they channel the Galactic Federation, and you know, how they usually get these messages of hope and also warnings and that kind of stuff. Well, this is what he's talking about, that there's all these higher level extraterrestrials all around Earth, different kinds, that are forming these groups because they want to assist us through this change. Okay? That's pretty freaking awesome, if you ask me. Now, what is this change? Now, what event is happening? What's going on? Well, Tom Campbell says that he gets the impression that it's geological, but that it also is spiritual, right? That there's some sort of spiritual ascension thing going on. Well, I remember another channel tape from the Monroe Institute Explorer series where they talked about how planet Earth is actually a living, breathing, spiritual, conscious entity that is having its own conscious awakening. It's going through essentially like a Kundalini experience. And when Earth goes through its spiritual awakening, and it's basically putting out feelers to the rest of the universe saying, hey, I'm here, I'm aware, I want to be a part of you guys, I'm looking for friends, hey, what's up, guys? Then it started attracting all its attention. Then as Earth goes through its spiritual ascension, we are like tied, right? Intrinsically through to Earth. So as it shifts, we shift. We have to shift. If we don't shift, we get left behind. We cease to exist. We get thrown out of harmony. Something bad happens. I don't know what it is. But as Earth shifts, we need to shift with it, right? That's why people say, raise your vibration. Why are we raising our vibration? I think the urgency is Earth is raising its vibration, and we have to raise ours, or it ain't gonna work, right? It's kind of like having a key to a lock. It has to fit. So we need to be on that same vibration, that same frequency as Earth as it changes. This is my opinion. This is how it could be geological and spiritual at the same time, because this is what he was talking about. He gets the impression it's a geological event. Well, if it was just, if everyone talks about it's coming up, right? If he was talking about, I don't know how that's spiritual, but maybe is tied to this spiritual Kundalini of Earth. And as Earth goes through its crazy Kundalini awakening,
Yeah, I see how he couldn't say pole shift on TikTok. It's crazy, right?
it creates this upheaval of cataclysms on Earth. I could see that, right? Like when you go through Kundalini, it's like this fire, this serpent that busts through you, right? So I could see that having this physical manifestation on Earth in the form of earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanoes and all that kind of fun stuff, right? So that's how it could be geological and spiritual at the same time. Now, I think this is why all these motherships and everything are here. I get the impression, and I've been told this by people that know, there are these space arcs on Earth. What if these space arcs are here? Evidently they're huge, like size of cities. And you have that whole like 144,000 thing. What if they're gonna fill these space arcs with people that are at the right frequency? You have the right key to get in, essentially. And basically as Earth lurches and does its shit, you know, and it purges and all that as it goes through its Kundalini, maybe we get off for a minute, right? You know what I mean? And then we would be going through our Kundalini moment, our spiritual ascension too, and then we would come back down. And there's a lot of ancient texts that explain similar situations to what I just said. That is a possibility. I don't know. All I do know is that around us right now on Earth, there are lots and lots of extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, and alien, and all sorts of different ships that are circling Earth, waiting for the big show. They're filling their theater seats, getting ready for showtime. And evidently showtime is coming. He said even though in the astral time breaks down, it's not linear like it is here, that they said there's like these signposts, that there's actually like events and moments that are just etched in eternity, and they're like, it's gonna happen. And they know this. And I think that's why we have disclosure the way we have disclosure coming. I think all of a sudden our governments are like, oh yeah, forgot to tell you guys, there's fucking aliens. And they just all of a sudden nonchalantly are talking about interdimensionals and non-human intelligence and all that stuff, because they know it's inevitable. As we get closer to showtime, more and more are coming. They're coming from everywhere. And there's good, there's bad, there's indifferent, there's a little bit of everything. There's alliances on both sides, and they're coming, and they're getting ready for the show. And I'm kind of getting a little frustrated that we're not being told any of this shit. So, I don't know if you're like me. I would like to be given a little bit of information, because at this point, it's freaking obvious, guys. I mean, come on. So, we need some info. Things are happening. We are a part of this change. This show is going down. We're the stars of the freaking show. Give us some information, guys. But regardless of all that, this is happening, baby. Let me know. What do you guys think about all of that? Have a beautiful day. Peace.
You want to know what's so fascinating about that is, like, we're all, that's why I listen. I sit back. I don't say I believe everything everybody say, because you shouldn't. You shouldn't believe everything I say. Nobody say until you find out for yourself. But we're all saying similar things. But based on our preference and what we want to see, I can see a pattern of people omit certain things that they don't want to happen to them or they don't feel comfortable with. But what I can see a direct correlation of, we have quote unquote ancestors from a long time ago where you'll find their skeletal remains and they're completely different than us. It is my belief that these different humanoids that we found on this planet, we all cohabitated together at a certain point. But when the poles shift or something major happens, the sun heats up or something like that, certain humanoids die off because they couldn't make that shift into our new reality. I.e., they couldn't raise their frequencies, they couldn't change, they couldn't evolve. And it's certain people that are made for certain things, and that's what I can see a direct correlation of. Let me know if y'all tracking in the comments. You know, we can look this shit up. It's kind of fascinating, but I'm not saying that I'm right. That's just kind of how I see it. But yeah, and they coming to pick us up. That's why our ancestors used to sing like different songs for different reasons, and people think that they're for certain reasons that they're not. Like Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, nigga, they talking about come and get us. You feel me? But look, let's keep going though. This is interesting.
Man, what type of fish is this? Watch this fish. Soon as he get out the water, look what he do. The nigga turned into a fucking bird, man. This shit crazy, man. Fish out of water. Bird. I'm done.
Those are real fish. They've been here.
That was the first time I saw the edge of the earth. The elder. But then I will break it. What the fuck? That.
Oh, white people. This is the type of shit. This is why y'all not gonna make the shift. The fuck?
First and foremost, I hope dude is okay. I really do. I don't know what happened to him, but I've seen these a lot, right? Where a whale or a shark or something washes up on the shore and they try to get it back in the water. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's commendable. That's fantastic. I just feel like there's a certain way you should do it. As soon as the animal, the shark in this case, gets into deep enough water, which it was, you got to get out of there, my guy. You was trying to go with him. Again, I hope dude is okay. I really do. And if he is okay, make sure you send him this Why the Whites window certification.
Shit's great. Y'all crazy as hell.
Absolutely sickening.
Papa tells us to hold a knife, and then he puts his big hand on. He pushes it into the neck, cuts it, and after, but when it's upside down, so it's like he goes like that. How does the baby become upside down? So you get a string, hang it up, and it's upside down when it's asleep. Well, hang the baby upside down after they inject it. Yes. Miss Marden, the nurse, she injected. Miss Marden is a nurse of our school. She does the injecting. She pretends to be kind to my mom and tries to say be kind. And then after she injects. She's the nurse, so she pretends to be kind to mom. And so if I hurt myself, she pretends to be really kind to us and look after us and give us eye care. She's a member of the school? Yes, she's a. What do they all have? You say they all have a special something that they wear and stuff. Yes, they wear this special kind of shoes. They make
what shoes? What special kind of shoes?
Baby skin shoes. Daniel, Felix, and Max.
Who are Daniel, Felix, and Max?
They work at a shoe shop. Daniel and Felix, yes.
What shoe shops do they work at?
Daniel and Felix, they work in next to the O2 Centre one in this tube station.
Where?
Just inside the tube station.
In the tube station where? What tube station, Daniel?
O2 Centre one.
O2 Centre where?
So in a corner. Tube station. I think it's the next Waitress. I didn't have to. Finchley Road Station.
The tube station?
Yes. So when you come in, there's this shop there.
Don't have
shoe shop.
Tell me what they do, these fellows.
And those fellows, they take off the skin. I don't know how. I
The skin
don't.
of whom?
Of the baby. The baby.
And they make shoes.
Yes.
And who wears these shoes?
Papa, everyone wears the shoes.
Everyone in the cult.
The fuck? I mean, that's a clip from a long time ago that I never put that clip out because I like the simplified version of it because it gets into detail with another interview with her, and they found out that this is really real. This was happening at churches and stuff like that. They were doing this to the babies.
Atlas in Greek mythology was the one who held up the world on his shoulders. Okay, that's the watered down version. However, what it's speaking of is this part of your neck that connects to your medulla oblongata. And when you stay in your lower self, that is where your soul exits your body. If you know etymology, you will find how to break down parables. Okay? With the Pleiades star clusters, it's based on the power of 7, the 7 ruling planets. Okay? It correlates with the 7 seals, the 7 trumpet sounds, the 7 churches of Asia. The number 7 is recorded in the Old and New Testament 360 times. The preamble of the Constitution has 52 words. 5 plus 2 is 7. There are 7 articles in the Constitution. 7 is the number that this planet vibrates on. You have 7 chakras. The book of Job is about the number 7. Are you aware of the 7 days of the week? Okay, you know the etymology of that. This right here where Saturn, this is the first Pleiades stars, which is called the gate of God. You ask the universe for permission to get a physical body. Everybody's soul enters through Saturn, which is discipline. Okay, that's why they call it the gates of God. The gates of God and the gates of men, the common name is the Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer, or the solstices. These 7 represents what we call, the first thing is Jacob's ladder, which is the 7 ruling planets, and then it's the Hermetic principles. I'm gonna up this. Each one of these gates have a specific time that rotates around your body. On your solar return, or most commonly your birthday, okay, you are in a cycle called opportunity. Okay, y'all have your dictionaries? On your day of your birthday starts with, it's called your sun cycle or the cycle of opportunity. Can someone look up opportunity in the dictionary?
Here they don't have the etymology. Opportune, yes.
Okay.
Middle English from Old French, opportune from Latin, opportunist from portal, by means coming toward port. Ob meaning to, the ob plus port. Causative of port is harbor.
Right. Basically, opportunity is the birth canal. Depending on, the older the dictionary, some dictionaries go back to natives, born, some dictionaries go back to water. But if you look up port and you keep looking up the etymology of the words, when they say C2, you would get back to the womb, to the belly button, which is your only birthmark. But the older the dictionary, the closer it takes you to the womb. But what I'm saying is, the older the dictionary, more to the truth you'll get to. All right, opportunity starts on your solar return day or your birthday. Every 52 days, okay, is a cycle. And the first 52 days of your life is called your opportunity cycle. And that cycle deals with your character and your reputation. During the first 52 days after your birthday, that's what you're going to work on. However, it gets tricky. In Black Laws, are you familiar with Black Laws Dictionary? In Black Laws Dictionary, editions 1 through 4, character and reputation is a part of your moral obligation, or what is called jurisprudence. Okay, when you come into yourself and you know your name and nationality, you can sue somebody for defamation of character. But if you're not nationalized, you can't sue no one for defamation of character because you have an identity, so to speak. Okay? You know, and I want them to see this is not abomination, divination, and the work of the devil. The only work is the spelling that they do with that pen and that cursive writing. That's the curse and the spell. It's called grammar. You know, that's one of the liberal arts. And astronomy is one of those liberal arts. In the first 52 days of your cycle, which is your opportunity cycle, not only is your character and reputation, that is the point where you want to get out there amongst people in high positions, when you want to be recognized. During that period, more people are like to be drawn towards you when you have something powerful to say. 2008, before Bush left office, he wrote an executive order to change daylight saving times to November 1st. Did y'all notice that? Yes. You didn't notice that? It used to be in September. Now it's in November. See, he changed time again so that you can't be aligned with the planets. And you can't get your chakras aligned. So all the yoga you're doing, all the breathing is for naught if you don't know what time it is.
Did you know that the Greys, who are the popularly known avatar for aliens or extraterrestrials, are a group of cloned slaves created by the Chakra Empire in their genetic breeding programs? Those commonly referred to as Greys, owing to their grey and sometimes brown appearance skin color and slender elongated head features, typically belong to the reptoid category, although there are also smaller populations of insectoid DNA, saurian amphibian, or vegetal varieties. They can be categorized by small or tall height. These beings exhibit reptilian, vertically slit eyes, often concealed behind biometrical dark lenses. A significant portion of Greys are products of genetic engineering, biosynthetic entities, clones, cybernetically enhanced or integrated into human environments on conquered planets. Many of the Grey clones are usually emotionless. Their motives vary widely, with not all being involved in abductions or experimentation, and not all displaying malevolent tendencies like those from the Orion Alliance, exemplified by the Solipsi Rai, a peaceful and benevolent species coerced and enslaved by the Orion and Chakra empires. Unfortunately, the Greys as a whole have garnered a negative reputation, primarily due to their association with reptoids and their penchant for conquest, terrorizing and enslaving various Grey factions. Their technology varies from system to system, but they are interdimensional travelers at the level of Tier 4. Among the myriad races classified as Greys, only 27 are known to visit Earth, with 22 actively engaged for diverse reasons. The story of the Greys goes back to the ancient Orion-Lyran Wars, spanning multiple galaxies millions of years ago. Draconian reptilians engineered various non-plasmic life forms, including Grey clones, where they were initially enslaved by them. Eventually, these clones rebelled against the Draconian reptilians, their creators, sparking conflicts across Orion and Pleiades, leading to significant losses and dispersal among the Grey clone army. Seeking to preserve their genetic lineage, Greys journeyed to Earth, abducting humans to create hybrids, as seen in the Esasani group. Youthful Greys with human-like hair living on a nearby peaceful island planet in the 5th dimension. On their
And they got the Bob Marley Greys and shit too. That's crazy. They just doing hella experiments, ain't they?
planet, their frequency vibrates at the 5th level. They have a society that has no war, nor death, nor crime, or poverty. They have one group of appointed councils who represent the people. Their planet has a nice temperate changes similar to Earth, however. The oxygen levels are much higher. They believe in growing higher into dimensions and evolving to heal mother consciousness. There are a few who monitor and watch Earth, even communicating to spiritual mediums through frequency vibrations. These beings have human mothers or fathers on Earth and Grey DNA of the Grey clone species. Further distinctions among Greys include the Ainana species, who are known for collaborating with the US government. Next, the peaceful and smiling Ark, and the enslaved Ohu, genetically altered by Orion and Chakra agendas. The Emertha arrived in 1954 on behalf of the Council of the Five for peaceful purposes, cautioning against the Greys and Chika. The Shamtanali from Zeti Reticuli maintain secret underground bases on Earth in cooperation with the US military. Various factions, such as the Solipsi Rai, have made alliances with empires for technology exchange, often involving humans. They are cloned slave workers, heavily involved in abductions and synthetic life forms. The Ebon race from Orion collaborates with the Cabal and human military. Essassani hybrids live peacefully on a nearby island planet, while Elmanuk from Alnea await Earthlings' awakening. These beings are known to visit Earth interdimensionally and plant high vibrational coding into individuals. Once this coding is implanted inside the skull of the individual, it rearranges the cells and brain for expansion of data and information. This information and data are the keys to unlocking from the Matrix, and the individual will be able to articulate the coding of the Galactic Federation's information to the masses, essentially raising vibrations and channeling chakras. Indugut from Orion have treaties with Earth governments, and the Kili Tokat engage in abductions for food and sexual slave trade. Due to the Anunnaki of Nibiru, many Greys share alien DNA with modern humans.
Her food. But yeah, look, man, they gotta understand where the million kids are going each year. 1 million each year.
And if you look closely at a person's skull,
never found,
you can usually see if that shares similar features to Greys, with large frame of skull or receding forehead. Hybrids possess alien genetic coding and alien soul matrix, while rebirds, another form of hybrid, lack a soul matrix and can have human or reptoid genetic coding. Genetic engineering, particularly by the Chekar, results in varying degrees of divergence from human traits, with distinctions evident in the eyes, a hallmark of their races. The Chekar employ grey clones for experiments.
And he sent me this shit. And, you know, there's a saying, a karmic cycle, or they have to tell you and all this stuff. You'll hear a lot from the conscious community. When I saw him do that, you know what I mean? Side eye. And that's why when you see in the video that this comment's off of, you know, why is him telling people about this date? And if the real ones know, if you know what I meant by that. But yeah, do y'all know about Kavel Kavan talking about the videos around his death? That it's already happened? And if you know what I'm talking about, tell me, how does that make you feel? What are your thoughts on it? You know what I mean? I'm very, very careful right now because of sometimes your opinion on this app can be misconstrued as misinformation, which I find fucking ridiculous. But it is what it is, so we have to walk on a tightrope. But when he said this, let me just say, I am very skeptical about a lot of people right now. And when someone has influence and they're directing you to a date or a event or a Proud Boys or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I'm starting to pay attention to the people that are focusing things or focusing our attention to things. Let me just say that. You ever wonder why we've been so repetitive on these dates being set? Date after date after date and nothing happens? Who's doing that? Where are these dates coming from? Who is these date setters? And let me just say, if you know, you know. You guys have a blessed day. Tell me what y'all think about that topic, though. Peace to the gods.
Some of you may come out.
I'm gonna keep listening.
So we have to go a little bit deeper into that last video. If you have not seen it, go watch it right now. We have to go deeper because, as I said, I died in December of 2021 in a bad accident.
I ain't gonna hold y'all. This shit is interesting, ain't it? Like, it's interesting. Do y'all believe him? Do y'all believe that he was unalived in 2021 and he's still here? Is he cloned? Is he cloned meat like I cloned Tyrone? I ain't cloned Tyrone, but y'all know what I'm talking about. what's the possibilities of that? Do y'all believe it? Do y'all really believe, like, you know, from that movie's aspect, you know, they replace certain people in the hood, and these people are here to terrorize, and, you know, they recycle them over and over and over again in the labs underground. One thing we do know, that there are underground facilities for sure. That's 100% true. There are tunnels down there. There, you know, and it gets weird. It gets weird, man. We having disclosure of aliens and shit. Like, what the hell is really going on, boy? Earth is just crazy, ain't it? Earth is earthing out this junk. But let's get back to it, man. Let me know if y'all believe what he's talking about. I'ma listen. I'ma give it an ear. I give everything a listen, because I don't want. I would want somebody to hear me out if something crazy happened to me. You know, I would want you to listen, not actually believe it. I just want you to see if that can be true to you. You know, I know it might sound crazy sometimes, but some of these niggas is crazy. But we gonna go. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's get it.
On fire, and he kind of shakes his head, and he opens the door. He looks in there. He shakes his head, and he backs off that truck. So now he's taking pictures with his cell phone. And he grabs something out that truck. Mind you, I think I have my cell phone in my hand. He grabs my cell phone out that truck and points it at something in the truck. Then he walks off to the side, and he opens that phone, and I'm still not understanding what's going on. So he opens that phone, and he's calling someone to let them know what happened. So I rush over to the officer, and I tell him, "Oh man, I don't know what happened. You know, I'm thinking that he's gonna say, 'Are you all right? Do you need aid or anything like that?'" He doesn't acknowledge me. And then I notice that he has my cell phone. We'll continue in part 4.
Y'all.
It's time to tell the truth. Tamerica. Why is Cavell Kavan talking about Tamari? Are you Tamerican? Why can't we explore certain parts of the Grand Canyon? Would that reveal that certain people are indigenous to Tamaria? Tamerica, are you Tamerican? Or are you actually a migrant? Because if this is actually Egypt, then who's really the foreigners? Guys, I got wind that something very, very interesting is going to happen very soon. Because they've already found the oldest person or skeleton in this country. And can you guess what color that person was? So what does that mean? The oldest person in Tamerica was melanated. We cannot explore certain parts of the Grand Canyon because there's pyramids.
You already know. Pyramids for sure down there.
A band in Russia have caught something strange on camera.
showing we are sharing this world with non-human beings. This very strange video was recorded at a banquet hall during a private party in Russia. The party had been attended by supermodels, politicians, billionaires. Basically, some of the most rich and powerful people in Russia. Popular Russian musician Sergei Narov and his band Ruble were hired to play at the event. During the event, a short power outage happened at the banquet, and the lights quickly went out. This is what the band had seen.
Hell no to the no. Yeah, show would be over.
For some reason, most of the people who were in the hall began to shine light with their eyes.
Как выступление, но что-то случилось со светом в прекрасный момент, просто погас. Почему-то у большинства людей, которые были в зале, а там были люди совершенно такого серьезного полета, стали светиться глаза.
Ужасно. Страшно, потому что свет погас, и вдруг эти глаза светящиеся.
Hey, just imagine though. Imagine you was performing and that happened to you. Are you staying or are you gonna play it off? Like you ain't see shit? We need to get these people's faces uploaded and see who they really are and get an interview.
Look, I'm American.
I think I'll use my credit card.
You know something I was thinking about? What if that's a real alien, bro?
Right.
In plain sight. What if that's a freaking alien in real life, bro? Think about that.
I'm just now seeing that. It's 24
This is
right
part 2. Like I mentioned, we have all been programmed to believe that there is no land at the North Pole. But by the end of this video, you're going to realize not only is it home to the Mountain of God, it's also home to Paradise, the Garden of Eden, which includes a city full of angels that goes underground. So starting off, let me introduce you to Justin Trudeau. He's the Prime Minister of Canada, which in fact is very close to the North Pole. What I'm about to show you is an old clip of him in a room full of elites, talking about a trip that he took with his dad to the North Pole. Get ready.
Trip. I was going with my father and my grandpa Sinclair up to the North Pole. It's a very glamorous destination. I figured I was finally going to be let into the reason for the existence of this high security Arctic base. That's exactly right. We drove slowly through and past the buildings on a special top secret mission. And that's when I understood just how powerful and wonderful my father was.
Now, do you think a bunch of ice sheets made him have that reaction? No. It's because he witnessed everything that I'm about to reveal to you. This was a letter written to the Queen Elizabeth I. She was the Queen of England in the 1500s. Let's read what it says here. In the midst of the 4 countries is a whirlpool, into which they empty these 4 indrawing seas which divide the North Pole. And the water rushes round and descends into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. Sounds just like the maps that these explorers made in the 1500s. In the midst of the 4 countries, a whirlpool, and then 4 rivers coming out of it. Just like it says in the Bible. A river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. Look, it says here, it passeth through the whole land of Ethiopia, which is Africa. So these rivers go around the whole world. Our oceans are giant river. The North Pole controls our tides, not the moon. And it's funny how after the 1500s, all the maps started looking like this. Unknown region. Even NASA satellites, look at those big black holes in the middle. Now, the big mountain in the middle, it is called the Rupus Nigra. Look here. This is straight off Wikipedia. Look what it says here. Rupus Nigra, it means black rock. It is a magnetic black rock mountain located at the North Pole. Except there, under the bright pole, there lies a bare rock in the midst of the sea. Its circumference is almost 33 French miles, and it is all of magnetic stone. Why do you think all the compasses point north? We have all been programmed to believe that there is no land at the North Pole. Just a bunch of ice sheets, nothing to see here. What if I told you that this is far from the truth? Not only is the North Pole home to the most exceedingly high mountain in the world, Mount Zion, the mountain of God, which is spoken about all throughout the Bible, it is also home to paradise, the Garden of Eden, which is still here to this day. Now prepare for a big awakening. This is one of the first ever maps created of the North Pole in the 1500s. Now I want you to focus on the middle here. You have a mountain with a river coming out of it, and then you have 4 rivers coming out of that river in the middle. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. So you have the river flowing out of Eden, which is directly under Mount Zion, and then you have the 4 rivers parting from that one big river. A lot of people think that God took the Garden of Eden to heaven, but why would he be guarding it with cherubims and a flaming sword if it was in heaven? Now back to the map, that mountain in the middle, it is called the Rupus Nigra. It's straight from Wikipedia. Rupus Nigra means black rock. The Rupus Nigra is a black rock magnetic mountain located at the North Pole. Funny how the biggest investment company in the world is BlackRock.
I was just thinking that.
They know the truth. Not to mention, Rupus Nigra is 33 French miles wide. Remember who loves the number 33? The Freemasons. So soon after this map came out, the map started looking like this. Unknown region. What is that? Here's your NASA satellite footage, just a couple of big black holes in the center. Oh, nothing to see here. So here I am in Psalm 48. Look what it says here. City of our God and the mountain of his holiness, beautiful for situation. The joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, because it's in the center of the earth, on the sides of the north. So this mountain is the joy of the whole earth, and it is in the north. Look what it says here, beautiful for situation. The beautiful for situation, the biblical usage is the elevation, the height. This is an exceedingly high mountain. It's not the Mount Zion, which is in Jerusalem, which is only 2,500 feet high. That's a foothill. That mountain was named after the real Mount Zion. And the devil taking him up into an high mountain, he showed Jesus all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. Where did he take him? Took him to the exceedingly high mountain in the middle of our earth, in the North Pole. Now here's even more proof. This is a live view of the wind finder at the North Pole. What is that big old thing there blocking the wind? Guys, Mount Everest cannot even divert the wind. But there's something here at the North Pole that is diverting the wind. If y'all want a part 2 of this series, let me know in the comments. And if you guys are looking to be part of a community of people who know these truths, with myself included, we're going to be having weekly calls in my Discord. Go click the link in my bio and join right now.
So God updated the servers again last night, y'all. And he gave us this new DLC. It's a yellow quill-tip porcupine. Never seen one of these in my life. Can't tell by the tail. Looks like a possum. But yeah, that's the update.
Dude look like Pikachu. That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a lot of people who think Pokemon is one of the many tools of Satan. Have you heard this before?
I've heard you told. I remember I think I've heard it from you.
It's not just me, but I want to sort of trace a time.
Right off the back, I ain't gonna hold you. That shit sound crazy. We did just see the Pikachu though.
You were playing Pokemon and then you decided to go fight in Ukraine?
I was playing Pokemon for 2 months. Is that enough time, do you think? I don't know.
So somewhere while you were playing Pokemon, and just tell me the truth, is that when sort of you started thinking it might be a good idea to go fight in a war?
I had more kind of aimless thoughts, let's just say, when I'd be fighting and everything on the game. I was letting my mind wander. And
okay.
Part of that, again, I was involved in combat on the game.
All right. See, this is what many folks are saying, is that somehow built into Pokemon, it's this hypnotic, satanic game that is seductive in nature, that the Pokemon themselves represent various entities, demons. Have you ever heard of the Lesser Key of Solomon?
Mm-mm.
Can we pull up the Lesser Key of Solomon? The original Pokemon, I guess you could call this.
Bro, do you guys see this? Do you guys see this? What is going on here, y'all? What in the world is going on here? This was the sun in California just the other day. Bro, I am flabbergasted. I don't even know what to say. But first of all, look at that. What? Bro, I gotta zoom in. Do you guys see that? Man, I have never seen something so beautiful and just ominous at the same time. Like, that is beyond amazing. That looks like a black hole, y'all. And the crazy thing is, as of lately, scientists have been talking about a black hole and the black sun and all this type of things, y'all. Like, look at this. Look, and this thing, look, again, when have we ever seen anything like this, y'all? Things are changing. You see the wings? You see the wings? Woo! You see the black? What? Come on, y'all. And this is exactly what Will Smith was showing his performance the other day, y'all. Look at that. Y'all see that? Like, it's getting close. No wonder why things are heating up, y'all. In more than one ways, too. More than one way. We've been telling y'all we've been shifting. Now it looks like the shift is here, bro. That shit is literally at our doorstep. Remember to give your boy a follow on all these platforms, y'all. And let's continue to get this shift. Peace in.
I just said hi. Oh my god. It's okay. It's okay. It's alright. It's okay. It's just...
Hell nah. Hell nah.
And the characteristics nears this object, which has both the characteristics of a planet and the characteristics of a comet, comes through our solar system. It's well documented in the Bible. Planet X appears to be fairly well documented around the time of Moses' exodus out of Egypt. When this happens, the following things, all of them can happen, or some of them. Global warming, melting polar ice, rising ocean levels, possibly a pole shift, rapid drought.
Pole shift already, you know. They already said the shit turn, and then we got, man, all these things happen, right? Shit.
Drastic climate changes, storms with torrential rains, 200-mile-an-hour winds, meteor strikes, volcanoes, earthquakes, tidal waves, land masses rising from the ocean, land masses sinking from the ocean. And I'm going to go over some of these things in detail. These percentages, or my percentages, are not from any scientific study or anything, but I've chosen these as representative of what I feel has been going on here for a while. About 49.5% of the population believes global warming is a clear and present danger, putting the Earth at risk, putting animals and plant life at risk, and human beings at risk of harm. And that is caused by that knucklehead next door in his SUV. Human activity. That's about 49.5% of the adults. Another 49.5% of the adults believe one of the two things. Either that global warming isn't happening at all and isn't real, or that it's kind of a...
Let me know in the comments, do y'all think that global warming is not a thing, or is it a thing? I just want to see in the comments down below. Spam that joint. Let me know how y'all really feel.
Naturally occurring, slow-moving event, and it won't do any harm, and there's nothing we can do about it anyway. That's the other 49%. That leaves 1%, ladies and gentlemen, the 1% who actually get their news someplace other than television news, who take the time to actually read books and look for alternative news on the internet or on shortwave radio. That's 1% or less of the adults in this country. Things are getting very, very bizarre, to say the least. And the global warming issue has been very effective in keeping people in the dark as to exactly what's been going on. Joshua 10:13 talks about the sun standing still. Now, up until fairly recently, and I mean within the last 55, 60 years, scientists couldn't explain how the sun could possibly stand still. Bible scholars referred to Joshua 10:13 as a metaphor. Typically, Bible scholars do that. If they don't understand this stuff, they say, well, it's a metaphor. It really means something else. Well, about 1950 or so, the concept of a pole shift became apparent to scientists, and they understood how the Hebrews in the Sinai desert could look up and see the sun not moving. For the 19th century before that, they couldn't. If you were standing at the right place on the planet and the pole was to shift, the sun would have the appearance of standing still in the sky. Another researcher, about the same time, Dr. Velikovsky, Emmanuel Velikovsky, he did something nobody had done previously. He did research comparing what the men studying the ancient Chinese had written and the men studying the ancient Mayans had written and the people studying the people who live in Scandinavia, ancient folks had written, both of whom had, all those ancient cultures had written records and calendars. Velikovsky reasoned that if the Hebrews standing in the Sinai desert saw the sun standing still, then the Chinese must have saw it not come up the next morning when it was supposed to. Keeping in mind the Chinese had written records and had calendars, and you could line up the Hebrew calendar and the Chinese calendar to compare them if you knew what you were doing. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? On that date in history, when the Hebrews in the Sinai desert saw the sun stand still, the Chinese saw the sun not come up. Well, of course, the Bible means what it says, and it's 100% accurate. Exodus 16:31, manna from heaven. Now, this all happened shortly after Moses made his exodus. The Hebrews in the Sinai desert would wake up every morning and they would find substance of a certain color, of a certain substance, and a certain taste lying on the ground that they could pick up and eat. Manna from heaven. As it turns out, other cultures who had written records and calendars all left written records attached to the same dates, where every morning they could go out and pick up a substance of the same color and the same consistency and the same taste and eat it in China, in South America, and in Scandinavia. What we believe manna from heaven was carbohydrates in the atmosphere that would condense when the sun hit it. It would fall to ground and you could pick up and eat it. Once again, the Bible being verified by other written records all over the planet of that same substance being there. Isaiah 24:1. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. That sounds like a global earthquake to me. That sounds like a very good description of a global earthquake. Isaiah 24:20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, what appears to be an excellent description of a very large global earthquake. Right there in the Bible, waiting for you to read it and look at it yourself. When I first heard this story about Planet X, and I read Hazelwood's book, one of the first things I did was approach a friend of mine who has privileged access to certain government agencies. And I said, can you check this out? I'd appreciate it. He said, I never heard of it, but I'll check it out. He got back with me a couple of weeks later and he says, John, it's a real thing. They've been watching this thing for more than 20 years. It's out there. They got the Hubble watching it. They got all this instrumentation keeping track of it. It's got a 250,000-mile debris field on either side of it. When I say a debris field, I mean rocks the size of pickup trucks and rocks the size of Rhode Island. Big rocks and little rocks. It's traveling in a cloud of red dust, which means when we finally are able to see it, it'll probably duplicate what was seen by ancient peoples as being a red cross in the sky. The red dust will refract the light and make it appear to be a red cross in the sky. Both my private sources and NASA says that Planet X is 3 to 5 Earth masses large. About 1979, they sent the Pioneer space probe looking for this thing, and here's why. Astronomy uses a lot of instrumentation. They use telescopes in the visible light spectrum, telescopes in the infrared light spectrum, telescopes in the ultraviolet light spectrum, and radio telescopes. They take all this imaging, and this is where astronomy gets down to what's really important, that's mathematics. They use mathematics to determine how big these objects are, how far away they are, how fast they're traveling, how far apart they are from each other. Pioneer space probe determined all those things, and they've been watching it ever since. Watching it very carefully. They've determined that this object is on an elliptical orbit. That means it goes way out. And when I say way out, it takes 1,800 years to go out and 1,800 years to come back. Our planets that we're used to, Mars, Venus, Neptune, Saturn, and so forth, they make more or less a circular orbit. Some of them tend to be a bit elliptical, but pretty much circular. This planet has been the object of a lot of government activity, building shelters all over the United States, and they are in fact shelters for high-ranking government officials and their immediate families, including their adult children and their parents. Every 3,600 years, this object, which has both the characteristics of a planet and the characteristics of a comet, comes through our solar system. It's well documented in the Bible. Planet X appears to be fairly well documented around the time of Moses' exodus out of Egypt. When this happens, the following things, all of them can happen, or some of them. Global warming, melting polar ice, rising ocean levels.
It's already happening.
Possibly a pole shift. Rapid, drastic climate changes. Storms with...
Well, as we can already see, that's already happening. So is it a lot closer than what they say it is? And is it, I think it's, just my theory, I think it's heating up the water around us, from the outside. And that's causing shit in here to change. Now, what I can see is if our ancient ancestors seen this thing coming and they survived it, we can definitely survive it, So I'm not one of those believers where I think it's going to be the end of the world. It's going to be the end of a cycle, a long cycle for us. And we're going to be walking into a new world. Now, if these niggas go in these bunkers and they leave us out here, right? And We survived. We're gonna be waiting on them. We're gonna be waiting on them outside the door. Hopefully we got some upgraded powers or something like that. We something completely different. We're gonna eat the shit out of these niggas that come out there. You feel me? Y'all with me? Y'all with me? You feel me? They not gonna do us like that. But look, let me know how y'all felt about this video right here. I am gonna, like I told y'all before, it's a lot of people asking for those joints again. I just took a little break away from and giving y'all the detailed videos and this correlates to this and this rolls into this, you know. Y'all missed those movies. We're gonna get back into it when I do the lives and I do my giveaways and stuff. But look, man, I got a lot of things going on behind the scenes. You know, we all got life to live. We all got tasks to do on our daily basis. I got chores and shit too, y'all. You know, I'm a grown ass man. I got kids and everything. So I got business to handle. But look, hopefully y'all out here handling y'all's and take care of yourselves and your family as best as you possibly can. Make sure we doing the proper steps to stay together and stay organized and raise our frequencies on this planet together. But look, man, I see you on the next video. And like I always say, spread love because there's too much hate in this world. I love you guys. I see you on the next video. And I'm out, though. Bye.